Now, of course, as South Africa's electricity crisis deepens, there are still some efforts that are being made in the country, concluding a number of agreements with Chinese state-owned entities with the signing of two overarching memoranda. Now, these were witnessed by President Cyril Ramaphosa and President Xi Jinping, and part of the agreements include addressing issues of green energy solutions, exploitations of renewable energy sources, as well as the use of modern technology. At the same time, there will also be a focus in order to try and assist public institutions like hospitals, for example, to ensure that they have a constant power supply. And as we've seen, some of the concerns in this regard, to ensure that hospitals are safeguarded from the impact of load shedding. Let's now speak to Professor Sampson Mamphweli, Head of Energy Secretariat at the South National Energy Development Institute. Thank you so much, Prof, for your time. And I wonder, how will the recent energy deal with China impact South Africa's electricity infrastructure as well as capacity?
Good evening in South Africa and morning this side. I'm in Japan. So if you look at BRICS, the outcomes of BRICS, before we get into the details of the Chinese deal in general, we had 6 other countries joining the BRICS bloc, trading bloc. That then means that the trading routes expands from South Africa to Ethiopia and Egypt as well. And then BRICS will now control about 43% of the world's oil production. You have you've got a lot of coal as a strategic mineral amongst the BRICS countries. We've got about 30%, more than 30% of the world's GDP. So that is basically changing the world's trading platform. Coming back to China, China is the largest South Africa's trading partner, sitting at about 68%. And when it comes to the energy side of things, China is leading. They've got the most advanced power system. They are adding renewable energy at a pace equivalent to our entire installed capacity in South Africa. So we can learn quite a lot from them. If you look at the deal that has been signed itself, the deal looks at issues such as your industrialization, where China will be assisting us with in terms of industrialization. South Africa sits in a pound seat in terms of the minerals that are required to manufacture some of the technologies that China is leading in terms of manufacturing, such as your solar panel. And that then makes South Africa a springboard into the African market in terms of the manufacturing, and that can assist us in terms a great deal in terms of our own GDP. In terms of the electricity side of things, China is currently leading in terms of manufacturing of things such as your solar panels. With the new agreement in place, South Africa will then be able to secure solar panels much cheaper. And that talks to some of the plans that we have in South Africa. If you look at the Energy Action Plan, for instance, it talks to small-scale embedded generation. The solar panels were expensive. People were not able to afford them, which means that people will now be able to afford them when they become cheaper from China. If you look at the REAP program and the IRP, the deal that has been signed is in alignment with the IRP as well. When it comes to things such as research, that has been included as well. South Africa has invested a lot of money in research in the past. For instance, we've got intellectual property in the form of production of what we call MEAs that are used for electrolyzers and hydrogen fuel cells. And those MEAs need to go into technologies to make what we call fuel stacks. So those are some of the discussions that we need to start to have with China in terms of the energy landscape and the industrialization, and how China can then assist in terms of the current crisis that we have. They've pledged to assist also in terms of the human resources that will come and assist ESCOM, or also equipment that has been donated by China, which will also assist here and there.
And you know, as of course we talk about this and some of the agreements, and as you mentioned, some of the critical moments here, South Africans who are watching are probably having one question in mind for them. Does this help us get out of load shedding? as we have known to be in, and particularly even as summer approaches, some are still saying that we may find ourselves with more load shedding, especially when you think of the units that are meant to come back where Kusile is concerned. So does this help us at all?
Yeah, so if you look at the energy action plan and you look at the deal that has been signed, it talks to part of the energy action plan, which is the part on the small scale embedded generation, for instance, where we bring in things such as your solar panels for installation. So in the medium to long term, the deal will assist us. In the short term, South Africa needs to implement the energy action plan to its dot. We still need to bring in demand response or demand side management, where we can be able to take away a load up to 3,000 megawatts. We still need to fix the Eskom coal fleet, as Eskom has been doing. They've improved quite a lot from about 40% energy availability factor when the Minister of Electricity was appointed to about 60% energy availability factor. For load shedding to disappear, we need to operate the coal power stations at least 70% energy availability factor. So people who are predicting that it's going to be worse, they are correct. It's going to be worse before it gets better. But when it gets better, it's going to be much, much better than what most of us have predicted. Looking at some of these deals that have been signed with countries like China, Russia, Brazil, and others. For instance, the Brazilian side of things, Brazil has got a huge bioenergy program that South Africa will be learning from. We've got a bioenergy strategy in South Africa that we have not been implementing because we don't have the capacity and the necessary knowledge. So we're going to be learning from Brazil in terms of that as well. But in terms of load shedding, even the equipment that China has donated, it's not going to necessarily get rid of load shedding immediately, but it will make a small dent. Anything that comes to take away even kilowatts or megawatts at this particular point is a welcome kind of an initiative under the current circumstances. But it's going to get worse before it gets better. And when it gets better, we will have in the next 2 years or so a lot more electricity than what South Africa can consume, because we're expecting, for instance, the private sector to come in with 10,000 megawatts of renewable energy because of the intervention that government made when they removed the licensing requirements. Those projects have already been registered. Some of them have already started building at the moment. So we're looking at a situation where we will have between 40 and 50 gigawatts of renewable energy in the next 2 to 3 years. And that, coupled with the fact that we may have had some headway in terms of fixing the Eskom coal fleet, will result in us having quite a lot more electricity. It's only that it's not going to happen like tomorrow.
Yeah, and I was going to say, because all of these plans being put in place, you and I are talking about them and whether or not things will get better. But are we moving fast enough, though? I know you say that it's not going to happen by tomorrow. I mean, if we're still talking about the fact that there's now unplanned capability loss factor that also Eskom is contending with here, a matter that is receiving urgent attention, as the minister says. But are we moving fast enough?
Yeah, if you look at the pace at which the government has responded to load shedding, it's been very slow, because load shedding started many years ago, about 1998, and some of the interventions like your new build program, Medupi and Kusile, they had challenges that South Africa is busy solving now. A power station like Kusile will come back to life around December or so. The electricity minister is very optimistic that it will be much earlier. What we're seeing from the numbers is that it will be a little bit delayed. So the power station like Medupi as well, some of the problems are getting solved now. our nuclear build, the nuclear power station is being renewed at the moment. It's going to take some time. There are some delays. So when all those things come back to life, things will change for the better. In terms of the pace was not as it should have been until the president announced the Energy Action Plan. But even after the announcement of the Energy Action Plan, the work that is being done under the Energy Crisis Committee, under the various work streams, for which I'm also participating in some of the technical work streams, has been very slow, extremely slow, and sometimes frustrating, until the Minister of Electricity came on board, and then he started fast-tracking some of the work that NECOM is doing. So in terms of fast-tracking, the Minister of Electricity appointment helped in terms of fast-tracking some of these issues. They can do better, and I know they are busy, working on things such as your demand response and demand side management. In the next few months, they will be starting to roll out some of those kind of programs. Actually, some of the programs have already started being rolled out in the form of your demand reduction. Yes.
All right, Prof, as you say, a lot of people are wondering, is it going to move even faster than what we're seeing? But, thank you so much for that, as we try then to see what will this, will these deals that have been signed, this agreement, does it take us a step closer? Does it not? Are we still going to have to wait? And it sounds like a bit of a long way off, as you say, but things are moving towards the right direction. That's according to you. Of course, that was Professor Sampson Mamphweli, head of Energy Secretariat at the South African National Energy Development Institute, as we looked at those deals. That deal that South Africa signed with China. We'll continue to monitor this one.